Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you live from Copenhagen, Denmark, where Vitality are up 1-0 in the third place decider. Guys, it was an explosive game. Not in the favor of Splice, unfortunately. For
With
Splice
thumbs up
fan.
here on the caster desk.
Because he said Denmark, so we got to be like,
yeah, Denmark.
But yeah, I think, again, if you're Splice, happy with first 3 minutes, unhappy with the remaining of the game.
Yeah,
because absolutely everything started going wrong.
Yeah, and I do feel that once again we saw a situation where I know it was difficult for Nisqy, but he was 5-1-1 on that Zoe. And I feel like that he wasn't really able to do anything. When you have all the gold and when you're in that kind of a position, I don't want to put the responsibility on it was his fault. He should have done something. But I felt like there was avenues that he could have played around, and I feel like he could have tried to make stuff happen.
I feel like the issue is when you're ahead on Zoe, you want to be like the only champions ahead. You want to be able to pick them apart, roam to different lanes.
For sure.
When Caitlyn and 2 other champions show up in your mid lane and Caitlyn can 2-shot you,
of course,
you don't really get to play Zoe the same way.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem when, you know, there's 2 members being really far ahead on the other side, and they can kind of just move around killing your turrets. And then when you try and TP in to help, there's a trap from Caitlyn.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
that makes it really difficult for Nisqy. So tough for him. I think a lot of it has to come down to just the execution of these fights. They wanted Tristana Braum, all in level 2. Braum jumps to the Tristana. You try and get the kills, and it did work at first. But then when they tried it again, that's when it backfired.
And the thing is, Vitality looking very strong right now, but Splice might have to make some changes. We think a week of prep led to that game 1 draft, which backfired catastrophically. So do they keep the faith in the prep, or does Peter Dunn have to say to his players, hey guys, what we worked on, that strategy, we're not going to try it again?
I think they can adapt for this pick and ban phase. It is actually Vitality picking blue side for it. So that is one of the first times they've done that all split long. But I think they were very happy with how they could first pick the Caitlyn, get a really good bot lane matchup for Minitroupax that they could then try and play around him, and he got all the early kills, so that was perfect. And because Splice gave away all the comfort picks, even on Vitality's blue side, why change for this game?
But I also think that's part of what Yamato is relying on. He's saying that, hey, listen, Splice, we have all these picks that you have to ban away from us, and we haven't even showed you yet what we've been planning in this week off. So are you going to continue to give us our comfort, or will you look to take away some of those comforts so that we can have something else that we've got left up in our arsenal?
Well, gentlemen, we are going to find out as we head into picks and bans for Game 2. A lot remaining the same. Xayah and Ryze both taken off the board now to see where the adaptation comes in.
Yeah, if you're Vitality, you don't have to change a lot. Splice again with the Swain and the Ryze. Sometimes in these best of 5s, we get the exact same pick and ban phases for a second game, and the losing team said it was all about execution, and they can fix that for the next game. We have to see if that is the case. Kasing's ban is different here from Vitality. Was a Cassiopeia ban last game.
Maybe they saw Splice trying to match their early aggression. They don't want to give them any kind of champion that can look to duel, that can look to be powerful.
But this is normally not a pick I feel like Xerxe is super known for or dominates on, because he tends to focus a lot on trying to match ganks and not necessarily get ahead himself.
The only reason why I could see a Kha'Zix ban is either they want to go for an early pick on the Trundle, alternatively the stage 1. It looks like they are in fact going to go for the Trundle pick, and that's just already going to give them a really strong matchup in the jungle, because Splice themselves have said that they believe Trundle to be the best early game jungle duelist.
We saw Nidalee being picked against it by Fnatic when Vitality actually first picked it. Let's see if Xerxe has something prepared for his jungle pick. Could be Nidalee, or he might just go for the more standard choices, and it is the Skarner in this one. Not the Olaf, which of course is the one where people pick Trundle against that specifically.
Now Tahm Kench is the other big pick that's been left available. I feel like, again, Splice, they've not shown a huge amount of success on these melee supports, and if Splice leave it open now, Vitality are more than happy going to grab it for themselves.
A lot of power left up and available in this pick and ban phase. And once again, another game where Splice look to be prioritizing the Braum Skarner as their first rotation. Vitality may not have the Caitlyn, but they have the Trundle for now. May look for the Tahm Kench here.
Yeah, so Vitality's Tahm Kench is very important for multiple reasons. One of them is they love to play on multiple lanes, so they can use Tahm Kench ulti from mid to go to a side lane and set up a gank with Jiizuké for a Cabochard. And then the second one is it allows Minitroupax to play a lot of different AD carries, because Tahm Kench is such a safe laner. Not only is he good himself, but he also makes sure your AD carry doesn't just get killed multiple times, seeing as he has that Devour. So with this Tahm Kench pick, they don't have to grab early AD carry. They can let Splice ban away multiple AD carries and still sit with something like a Jinx at the end of the draft.
Now both drafts are very similar to what we saw in the previous game, with obviously the exception of a Tahm Kench rather than the Karma. But the big thing here is that for Splice, they now could look to early prioritize a top laner, given that 2 were banned out from them. And it looks like the Splice want to get themselves a more reliable engage on the top side of the map with the Ornn.
And Ornn, an excellent option. Safe engage from a distance, but also fills that tanky role, offers good setup for the rest of the team.
Also one of the really good picks against Tahm Kench, because that ulti is so huge from Ornn. So when Tahm Kench tries to devour one target, Tahm Kench is still going to get hit by the CC. He's going to get stuck there, and he can't really pull anyone to safety anymore. So the Ornn pick in itself, without just looking at the lane matchup, gives a lot for Splice's later fighting as well.
Now, Splice's strategy seems to be that they're going to ban away some of the power AD carry picks and then look to first pick it themselves. And Minitroupax, he's going to have to show what is available in his AD carry arsenal, because Vitality is saying, you know what, we'll ban away these ADs, we'll take them all off the board.
No
that is how
stranger.
confident I am in my champion pool.
No stranger to that strategy. They were happy to do it against Reckless. They'll do it against Kobbe too if they're given the opportunity. Are Splice going to follow suit and ban another AD carry here? How much of the pool is going to be taken away? How weird do these AD carry picks get?
Well, there's still things like Sivir available.
Yep.
Jinx is also there, something both guys could play, especially if they want to have more late game scaling. There's Xerxe AD carry,
Yep.
man. Of course, why not? Vitality already showed last game they want to play pushing bot lane.
And of course, the only option once you ban Caitlyn, Jhin, and Xayah, you know the traditional AD carries, got to go Ziggs next. But
Of course.
Splice, respect to them, seeing it as a potential opportunity. It could be exploited. Now, Tristana taking off the board as well. Kobbe wants to go for that AD carry. He's going to have to go for it now.
Now, the Kog'Maw was played by Vitality in their semi-final. We've even seen an Ashe come out from Minitroupax, usually as an answer to the Caitlyn, but could be another engage tool should they want that kind of power and team fighting option later on.
Ezreal seems to be what he's looking towards, so safe choice from Splice's bot lane. Also one where they could go for level 2 all in if it is against anything they feel like they can kill, but it's a Tahm Kench now and not a Karma like before. I want to highlight a mid lane choice. I want to make a prediction here. Taliyah is open.
Ooh, risky gamble.
Something he's locked in quite a few times.
even good at it,
I don't know if he can even
gonna
play the
try to
champion.
play it?
Maybe he wants to play it for the first time on stage. We will find out.
Betty is a superior analyst. What do you think?
I do feel as though Vitality are going to lock in.
Oh, a little spicy.
Bit of a Minitroupax special with the Jinx.
Crowd likes it.
I think I'm going to get on board. Ooh.
See, okay, here's my concern, guys. Looking at this draft, we have scaling for the Jinx. We got a lot of tanks on both sides. We have Ezreal, who's good for a short period of time. And now we have a Taliyah as well. What do Splice actually pick here to round out this composition?
I mean, they could go for the Zoe again if they wanted to. It wasn't like it had a bad performance last game, and it can synergize fairly nicely with the Ezreal in terms of like poke and siege and that kind of setup.
Peter looks very unhappy right there. Just before, they're trying to figure out exactly what they want to lock in for the last one. Cassiopeia is left open, and this time Nisqy gets to play it. I want to see Xerxe play around this mid lane. Get this Taliyah so far ahead. This combo of Skarner and Cassiopeia can be so good, because if you put down the miasma, you cannot flash away, and then the flash engage from a Skarner. It will happen. It will connect. And no riot support. That cleanse will not save you there on the side of Jiizuké. So I think the combo of Skarner plus Cassiopeia is so good if you want to play around mid lane specifically and shut down enemy mid laner.
Last game was all about the bottom side of the map. Maybe this game is different. Maybe now it's Jiizuké who could get shut down by early aggression coming in from the side of Splice, but can Splice keep up if they do find that window in the early game? Can they keep the ball rolling?
Well, that's going to be one of the big questions. How will they be able to find it? And again, you're looking at this bot lane situation where Minitroupax is more than happy to take this 2 versus 2. He said it in the past, in a post-game interview. I love picking Jinx into the Ezreal because as long as you dodge the Qs, Ezreal doesn't offer any threat. And he's so confident in his abilities that he's never going to get hit by an Ezreal Q. So we'll see how he does up, especially given that the first item for Ezreal will be that tier. And when you compare that to something like a BF sword, you would imagine they should look to have that early push.
If you can dodge a Mystic Shot, you can dodge a ball, and that's kind of what Yamada-kan is telling his bot lane here, and I think they're going to be fine with the scaling, but it does make it a little bit weird for Jiizuké on Taliyah.
Yes.
How aggressive is he going to be early? Where is he going to go? He needs to be careful because he's going to be the target.
All right, well, as the teams get ready to hit the rift, let's head down to Law, who's with Yamato-Cannon to talk about the game.
You chose blue side for game 2. What makes this side of the map so strong at the moment?
In this case, I think they showed that the red side draft was kind of weak, so we just wanted to hold our cards close to our chest and just keep going blue.
Well, all right, we'll see how it works. Now let's head over to the rift for Splice versus Vitality, game 2.
getting in the game. Will we see another bloody level 1? It's time to find out.
Where's Gilius? Where's Gilius?
Where is he? Keep your eyes on Gilius. You know, speaking of Gilius and Jiizuké, we were briefly talking about what would Jiizuké look to do. I feel like top lane could be a potential avenue for them to try and shut down Odoamne on the Ornn. You got to remember the Ornn, fairly low in mobility, especially pre-level 6. He won't have that ultimate to act as a disengage tool. He won't have that element of safety. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Vitality just look to push up through mid, group up with Gilius, and then try and get Cabochard a little bit ahead in the other game, just try and keep Odoamne down.
And this is what's so
He
scary.
hits the river. Great power move from Cabochard.
Thank you, Deficio. Now, before we continue, do you want to talk about the grass at all?
I mean, he's not hitting the grass yet, so no. That is not grass, that's a brush.
Anyway, back to your point.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
thank you. Let's continue to cast here. Thank you, Deficio. This is the terrifying thing about the Taliyah, right? Is that we've seen what happens when Jiizuké himself gets snowballed, and we've seen what happens when he's allowed to push out and roam. And are Splyce 100% confident they actually know where Vitality are going to put their priority, where they're going to put their pressure in this game?
It would make the most sense still for Vitality to try and get bot lane ahead.
Sure.
If Jiizuké can roam, typically you don't always try and gank the tank v tank lane. And I also think Ornn is one of the champions who can actually defend himself pretty well, especially against tower dives, because there's a ton of CC, there's a giant ulti that's hard to get rid of, and he just deals actually a lot more damage in the early game than people tend to respect. So I think bot lane is still where they're looking, but I think they're fine just having a more farm-focused early game and not fully focused on just kills on Vitality's side.
See, I'm of the opinion that Vitality, typically, if they have this kind of a bottom lane where, mainly with it's a Tahm Kench, they have this mindset of, we kind of trust you guys to just hold your own the 2 versus 2, especially against a champion like Ezreal, where we're more than happy to just leave you down there, and we don't need to try and snowball that lane because we know you're going to be happy, you're going to be healthy, and you're going to be fine. So we'll see which approach Vitality choose to take, because as we were talking about Discussion, I feel like both are viable options.
Now, if you're at home and interested in exactly how this mid lane match will play out, if you want to learn how to play Cassio versus Taliyah, you can head over to twitch.tv/riotgames2. It is the beta POV stream. We predicted a lot of farming, but maybe they'll mix it up. You can find out for yourself.
I'm predicting Splyce trying to kill Jiizuké in the mid lane. That's one thing I'm looking for. I think, again, with the combo they have to deny the flash into an all-in from a Skarner, it is a very viable option. Xerxe is warding for now. Nisqy is controlling, winning the 1v1 trades early.
Doing well so far, so you can get the first tier back, sustain a lot of that early wave pressure, and of course, you know the vision being placed down, didn't take the Spire, doesn't want to reveal exactly where he's at this stage of the game, and a much slower pace than game 1. No real active all-ins on either side of the map.
Yeah, and this is our first Trundle of the series. It was banned away, I believe, in game 1. And it'll be interesting to see how well it matches up against Gilius. Oh, my apologies. Xerxe, who is the innovator of the champion, bringing it first to the LCS stage, and Gilius then saying that he learned from the master Xerxe himself how to play the champion.
Now he's beating him and taking his camps.
Exactly that. He's looking to try and dominate.
To be fair, first he
matchup.
went on Twitter and debated everyone and said, this champion's garbage, no one should play it, and then brought it out.
Trying top now. The Xerxe is here.
Gilius still has the pillar available.
It's risky.
I think they're going to look for the 2v2. Good movement from Xerxe to deny the early aggression from Gilius.
Yeah, I really like this with Xerxe, and this is something a lot of the pro junglers praise him for as well. He's very good at reading where's the next play going to happen, and he's just around. Just to defend is not necessarily a fight, but just by him being there, he prevents a 3 versus 1 tower dive. He also gets his topside camp. Gilius did not grab it for himself, and Splyce, they just make sure that Odoamne is safe.
Bot lane, seen a little bit of aggression come in here. Jactroll takes a lot of damage to the bad side of that trade, but not quite enough to force anything out. And meanwhile, mid laners are starting to back Jiizuké, trying to push out as hard as he can so he can get his back. And Nisqy with the tier can have that all-in potential that just makes Cassio so terrifying.
You know, Minitroupax talked about his ability to dodge the Ezreal Qs, and so far, I've been keeping track. He's dodged all of them. Jactroll, not quite the same level of accuracy, has been struggling a little bit.
Slight difference in size.
But yes, you can see that Kobbe and Kasing have been able to put a bit of solid pressure down towards the bottom side. Cull has in fact been picked up for Troupax, so he's clearly going much more towards the scaling side. So we'll kind of also see if Vitality continue to look for more opportunities up towards the top lane. Little vision on the map right now, just a couple of wards sprinkled across some of the entrances.
Always important to highlight that Cull doesn't necessarily make you weak in the laning phase.
Of course.
Still gives you fine in terms of sustain and actual damage, just no HP. He's against a Ezreal on his side, and he has a Tahm Kench. He's probably feeling like he never gets all in, and therefore he doesn't need the additional health, and he can just go for more gold eventually.
It does tell us that he's probably not looking to fight around the bottom side of the map anytime soon, but I think the mid lane matchup as level 6s are now coming up, Skarner getting closer, we do have to kind of keep our eyes there because we've seen a little bit of a difference in performance from Jiizuké when he gets a lot of jungle attention, when a lot of people camp him, and how it kind of affects his play.
It was the game plan for Fnatic in the semifinal, was just camp mid game 1 and 4, and it worked so well for them. They killed him so many times, and it was hard for Vitality to do anything then without that mid laner who could roam around. So it should be the strategy for Splyce once they get level 6 on Xerxe. That flash Skarner ult will guarantee them a kill.
And given that level 6 is approaching very soon, we could look to see that. Deficio, will Jiizuké be shut down? Has in fact gone for the heal, realizing I think Riot Game support has been lying to me. And I do want that extra bit of mobility and
Third time we threw them under the bus.
We'll stop now, we'll stop. But of course, keeping my eyes on the minimap, seeing what is trying to happen. Because the thing about Sion into, Sion in general, if he can get a roam off, that's one of the greatest strengths he has. We talked a little bit about it in game 1, Deficio, where Cabo is a player he does love to try and find these roams. And he was just moving into the river, taking advantage of the fact they do have 3 control wards, and saying, is there an option right now? Is there maybe a possibility, given that Odo's pushed under his tower? He couldn't find one, so he goes back to lane. You'll see him just move in and out of vision every so often to just have that threat and allow Jiizuké to have a little bit more control over it.
Interestingly enough, still remains a bit calm, slow, steady pace. Level 6 is not in for the bottom lanes yet, so no real way for Kasing to force any kind of engage. And no opportunities to roam, as so far Nisqy's been able to match the mid lane pressure of Jiizuké.
Such a different game compared to the last one. This feels like 2 different teams playing. At 7 minutes, we had 5-6 kills on both sides. He's all in!
That thought, the flash over immediately, the ultimate, no cleanse, wouldn't have helped him anyway. The stun follow-up, beautiful coordination by the team to chain the CC for first blood.
Predator flash ulti. Xerxe comes in, and just as you predicted, Deficio, he gets the kill down onto Jiizuké.
Xerxe, he's gonna be happy now. That was a very easy gank for him. He rushes straight in with Predator, and by flashing, what is Taliyah gonna do? Absolutely nothing. Great setup from Splice, and this is why they left Taliyah open for game 2. Despite losing the first one, they're like, okay, now we got the answer. It's the Cassiopeia Skarner combo.
Yes, and it seems to be working wonders so far. Early game lead in favor of Splice. Let's see what they can do with it.
Last game, not a lot.
Yeah, because again, Nisqy, if he picks up a lot of kills, like, I'm a little critical of the guy. I feel like that when he gets all these advantages invested into them, he doesn't do a huge amount with it.
I want to see this game without the rest of his lanes falling behind.
That's very fair.
If he then gets to carry team fights, Kobbe and Kasing bot lane, just even farming. Of course, Jinx will outscale, but here's the gank. Just hoping he can try and knock him away when he still has time to run to his turret, but the moment that misses, Xerxe, of course, flashes onto him, and that is a very easy kill.
And I like the synergy there. Okay, hold still for a second. I'm going to ult this guy while he's facing towards me. Okay, now keep backing it up. Quality jungle mid synergy moment there.
Now I want to see if Xerxe can do it again. His flash, of course, is on cooldown. It's going to be harder for him to get in range. Jiizuké will always try and knock him back when he enters the lane. But that just allows Nisqy free time to actually trade against Jiizuké and win that 1v1 fight very easily. So right now, Splice should have mid-control. That's what we see also with all the vision around them. And that could potentially mean they can play around this bottom side and leave Odoamne just on an island. He might get tower doped, he might die. But that's not their problem.
Yeah, fortunately for Odo, he's now level 8, so surviving those potential tower dives becomes a lot easier for him. It looks like that he is already picking up a couple of very early items, as we are now seeing all kinds of stuff coming out across the board.
Of course, the tier plus the sheen going on for Kobbe on the bottom side. Also looks like he's going to be going for the Iceborne Gauntlet, so taking a bit of a backseat in terms of the damage roll. And the Cole almost completing now for Minitroupax. That's going to be a big point.
Look at the minimap. We have the exact same setup as earlier. Vitality, they go top with 3 people, and Xerxe is coming to try and help
This time they go in, though.
Gilius does manage to get the knockup. Odoamne getting all those stats stolen away. Now they're looking for the kill.
To the turret.
Backing off, trying to get a little bit more. They're going to be able to get one. That's Odoamne firing back, turning it around onto Vitality. Cabo has to flash out to safety. Xerxe not going to find it, but Nisqy might. Now chasing it down, looking for a little bit more. The knock up, the knock back, but Cabo's still in trouble here. Noxious Blast not going to connect. Cabo trying to run, trying to get the fancy footwork. Not going to be enough. 3 kills over to Splice.
And we talked about how difficult it can be to tower dive against something like an Ornn, so much CC, and we also got to praise Xerxe for knowing where to be on the map. He made plays bot side, he said, I've done my job here. He went top to defend his top laner, and now Jiizuké is trying to get a kill, but no, Odoamne walks away, and Splyce, full control. Everything's been set up by Xerxe himself.
Xerxe doing a great job of punishing Vitality, and you know, we're now looking at the minimap. We see a TP coming in from Cabochard in the middle lane. They may look to get the collapse down onto Splyce, immediately recognizing, hang on a minute, there's no way Gilius would come in 1 versus 2, and just showing that respect.
Trying to stop the Rift Herald from resetting. Bit of a difficult
Jiizuké
position to be in. May try to find the 2v1, but there's Odoamne on the backside. Jiizuké overstays and gets taken out. And they're going to get the Rift Herald too. Everything going in the favor of Splyce.
Not a single kill for Vitality yet. This one was a giant mistake from Jiizuké. Kind of just ignoring the fact that Odoamne was behind him and he just ends up dying. Rift held another big objective for Splyce, and they are in full control. And Nisqy, he's the man with the kills.
3-0-0 on the Cassio already. Things looking positive, so much more so compared to game 1, as the bottom laners just continue to farm. The big thing to remember is that mid-game spike for Ezreal, given that Splyce have already built up leads towards the top side of the map. The moment that Kobbe has completed his 2 core items, they can look to group up as a team and then start to force things around the map.
And if you're Vitality, what are you trying to do now with your Taliyah in the mid lane? You just went top before. Enemy jungle was there to counter you, so that backfired for the second time. Very true, that backfired all in.
Forward, Nisqy looking for the all-in. Does manage
He's
to
got
get
him!
one more twin bang, biting home.
Nisqy, I had my doubts, but you have been stepping up, getting the solo kill down onto Jiizuké, the rookie of the split. Here in Denmark, that is how you make a statement.
We talked about this after watching his series against G2, how good he looked on the Cassio, now pulling it out here in game 2. After losing so harshly in game 1, it's a good look for Nisqy in the mid lane.
So Cabo's trying to defend mid. That means there's no one top at the moment. Gilius was on bottom side to see if anything could happen there, but it's a big hit from the Rift Herald. Trundle is on its way, but so is Odoamne with the ulti.
What else can they get? They're now pulling it back. Call of the Forge God comes out, but unstoppable. Good use the ultimate back from Cabo.
You guys didn't see that. You didn't see anything.
No one saw it. Odoamne did that on purpose. All part of the plan.
Style points.
No summoners were burnt on either side. Just a bit of tower damage from the side of Splyce onto Vitality's mid tier 1. Infernal Drake is up next as Nisqy continues to keep control. But look at where the Ornn is, hanging off on the side.
Missing the seismic shove.
He's going again.
News. The heal, he wants one more. He's gonna get it!
Wow, Nisqy! What a machine! He is dumpstering Jiizuké in this 1v1, asserting himself over the mid lane.
Yamada Cannon, after the pick and ban phase, he just had that interview with Law. He said, you know what? We don't need to show anything new. We can pick blue side again. We didn't like what Splyce was doing in the last one. Well, there was one pick that was definitely different. Vitality didn't ban the Cassiopeia like they did in the first game.
Yep.
It was left open all the way down so that Splyce could last pick it. They did. They ganked for him in the mid lane, and now he's 5-0, solo killing Jiizuké twice.
5-0 again. Rylai's has already been picked up. Nisqy having a fantastic game. We saw his impact in team fights when they went up against G2. I'm expecting him to have that same kind of impact now, given that Vicious, what you wanted to see. Let's see how he does when his laners do not fall behind. We now get to see a prime opportunity of what happens.
So far, so good. A 4K gold lead for the team. 14 minutes in, and now if you're on the side of Vitality, you're running out of options to come back. And now you got to look at the guy who carried you in game 1
Ooh,
to
Predator.
maybe step up, but he could be in trouble on the bottom side of the map. Traps do go down. Xerxe has to be careful here. Not going to push for anything more, but Minitroupax, important in game 1. Maybe he has to step up here because it's not looking good in the mid lane.
A big difference. He's just farming. He picked the Jinx. He knows it's not about him getting early kills like last time around. Splyce's bot lane, they've not tried to be aggressive. They all in level 2 in the last game. This one, they're just farming. They're just pushing. They are constantly just relying on their mid laner getting further ahead. Gilius is trying to do something on his first pick, Trundle. He's going to find a lot of Splyce players.
Oh, now I'm going to pull it out.
And he is dead.
I'm going to be apologized there. I have seen this Cassio kill so many people that this is just what Nisqy does now.
It's just snowballing out of control. This combo in the mid lane is so powerful for Splyce. Xerxe did everything he needed to do early, and now Nisqy can just continue to carry his team by picking up all the kills. Bot lane turret, It's going to take a bunch of damage now, and Vitality, they have 0 answers.
They're still moving down like they're ready to contest this, but there are 4 members on the Splyce lineup ready to fight if they want to stick around.
Splyce have their eyes on the Infernal. They want to lock that one in, get the next one spawning. They've already taken the Cloud down. Splyce have so much control over the game off the back of Nisqy's control in mid. Now Jiizuké looking for a potential roam, but there's nothing available for him. Everything is going in the favor of Splyce in this early game.
Not at all what they wanted. Minitroupax hesitant to even approach the wave. Only 2 members committed, but just such a massive lead for Splyce.
And it's very good for the series that Splyce already in game 2, they bounce back. Much cleaner early game. They have a very good answer to this Taliyah pick. Vitality didn't really feel like they knew exactly what they wanted to do with it. It was more like, we need to pick this for Jiizuké because he's so good at it. More than we have side lanes we can abuse. Because bot lane is not really going to be the target. And we already talked about how hard it is to kill this Ornn under his turret. Made it difficult for Jiizuké to play the game when he was going to be the target, and he didn't really have anywhere to go in order for him to snowball. But for Vitality, at least, they get the bot lane turret, some gold for themselves, and at this point, it's going to be all about Jinx getting fed, but she needs a lot of time.
Well, as long as we've got time waiting for Jinx to scale up, if Splyce want to give it to them, we can talk a little bit about tomorrow. Of course, 5 p.m. tomorrow, 1700 hours. Fnatic versus G2. You can tune in for the pre-show at 16:30. It's going to be exciting. We'll see if it delivers as much early game action as this series has thus far. And you can see just how far behind they are, because Kobbe may be in trouble to flash forward to try to bring it home, and not going to get it in the end. All the Forge God comes out just to make sure they can secure this tower. Not enough creeps there to do it, however.
Splyce, they swapped their bottom lane up towards the top side because they want to secure themselves the final outer tower. And given that Vitality wanted to secure themselves their tier 1, they're a little slow to swap.
And that play from Xerxe, it looked hype. Flashes in, he stops the Sion ulti, but then he realizes, oh, the enemy bot lane is coming with the Tahm Kench, and he just has to walk away.
Look at the flank here from Vitality.
Tahm Kench is going to deliver into the middle of the fight. Minitroupax in trouble. He has to flash out immediately. Braum just blocking him out of any further exchanges. Jactroll still tanky enough, but this is not quite the fight that they wanted. Gilius now has to flash out as well. Everything is turning against Vitality. They're desperate to get something back, but it just keeps backfiring.
Do not deliver your AD carry to the middle of the enemy team when a fight is about to start. That's not a good thing. They're gonna get punished for it. He's gonna go down as well. That's 2 more kills for Splyce, and Vitality, they seem desperate, trying to force a play.
Exactly that, Deficio. It feels like the Vitality, they're running out of options. They feel like that the game is just falling even further out of their control, and they wanted to make something happen. But when we bring the replay up, look at the minimap, look at the positioning of Jiizuké and how difficult it is for him to get involved in the fight. He's stuck in mid. Nisqy has already pushed out the wave, and you think, oh, it's okay. You have the Taliyah ulti to join the fight. But no, he can't get involved. The TP comes in late. Minitroupax is forced out immediately because he is stuck in the middle of 3 members of Splyce. And it ends up in disaster for Vitality.
And Minitroupax gets zoned out by the Braum shield and then just leaves. The second he has to flash, he knows the fight is over. That is not at all the fight Vitality wanted.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jactroll actually wanted Gilius to be the one who clicked on that Tahm Kench ult, so it was the Trundle who appeared in the middle of the team and not his AD carry, who had to flash away instantly. In the end, though, Splyce just turn around, punish and pick up 3 kills, and now they are insanely far ahead in this game.
Double Drakes as well, 3 towers down in complete control. Kobbe looking quite strong. Doesn't even have the fully stacked tier yet, but still hitting hard with that red buff. Talked earlier, Minitroupax, he didn't get hit by a Q in lane, Vedius, but he's getting hit by a lot of Qs now.
You know, and I want to just ask our lovely observers if we can just very quickly swap to the gold, because the between mids is rather substantial. 3.5k gold in favor of Nisqy. This man has had a fantastic game, and you can understand now why teams were much more willing to ban the Cassio away from him.
All right, bot lane, let's see if they can kill Odoamne.
For the play, he's going to take a blast cone out.
That's a no.
That is a no, and now look at how much pressure Splyce gained on the map. They have a pushing wave in mid, and Xerxe's on his way up top. They have the right set on a couple of tier 2 towers.
That's a good one. This is not the game you want if you're Jiizuké and everyone can watch you play.
Oof. Deadly Shadow.
Guys, you've always wanted to tour the fountain. We've provided it. That's all I'll say.
Hey guys, you've learned a little bit more about Taliyah into Cassio. That's the bright side of this.
Yeah, hit the seismic shove or die to the fed Cassio, as it turns out. But now with the Rylai's, it's pretty much impossible to get away from Nisqy. And you can see Vitality desperate to just pick off individual members. Unfortunately, Splyce Splice are all set to group up and just keep this ball rolling.
Now the Baron is alive, but they have their eyes on Gilius right now.
Burning, not gonna die.
But with the jungler chunked out, Splyce could look to try and force something. TP is unavailable for Cabo. Ulti is up for Jiizuké. But when you have an overfed Cassio, this Baron will die extremely quickly.
Also, you got the Ornn ulti, which basically forces an engage onto Vitality if they walk into the river and want to try and take this fight. They're missing a lot of flashes on their side, and it looks like they're just trying to give it up. Let's see if they can steal with the rocket. Nope, straight onto Kobbe.
Down, 4K health and dropping. No one nearby to contest. That's going to be the first Baron of the game. Over to Splyce. 9 kills to 0. Jiizuké with a grin on his face. Things looking quite grim in this game after all. 8K gold difference on top of the Baron buff.
And just some adaptations that happened in that pick and ban phase. Cassiopeia was left open. Splyce were trying to get rid of some of the key AD carries that could have been first picked, like the Caitlyn ban that happened, and suddenly Vitality couldn't get a winning bottom side to match with this Taliyah in the mid lane. The first pick, Trundle, ended up not being too successful for them because, well, Gilius couldn't really do a whole lot on the map. He tried to go top a few times, and that was countered both times by Xerxe.
And I like the adaptation as well from Odoamne, going for a much earlier top lane pick in the draft, grabbing himself the Ornn, surviving those top lane potential dives, as you mentioned, Official, along with Xerxe. Now, there is a 5-man group up.
The Fnatic Brush.
Typically known as the Fnatic Brush. Here goes Vitality.
Oh, they're going to block him out. Nisqy potentially now in trouble. Going to try to land the ult flashes in the middle of the team. Now looking to fire back to Tahm. Kench there to save the day. Nisqy on the run, but he gets one.
Look at him go, Nisqy!
Looking for the follow-up. Can he make it out? The stun goes down. It will get traded back. Vitality spend everything on a single kill.
1 versus 5, and Nisqy gets 2 kills. This man is on a tear as Splyce ripped through the base of Vitality.
He's playing so well. Xerxe's trying to stop the recalls. He did it again. They're going for the finish.
3 members in the base of Vitality. Caught up, trying to recall, trying to retreat, but they're not going to get the chance. Splyce have the Baron buff and the wave there to back them up. Still 2 members fighting. They may just end the game here.
They got the big cannon as well. This turret will drop. We got Minitroupax alive now. Jiizuké coming in a second. They're still going. Here's a TP back from Cabochard.
Want to get something. Jiizuké using the wall. They need to find some kills. They need to get something back here. Jiizuké goes in, but Kobbe just going to cut right through him. One more Q to connect. Splyce on an absolute tear, and hope is running low. The retreat comes out. The kills getting cleaned up as Vitality are running into their own deaths. Desperate to hold on in a final stand here in game 2. Not going to get the chance. Splyce, a beautiful performance. Nisqy, the absolute MVP of this game to bring it home. And the rest of the team just looking to end it now. But can they kill the Nexus? Can they take it down?
Splyce, they are 4 members strong. The Jinx ulti comes out.
Getting
and it
forced
stopped
away.
them.
Looking for the reset, trying to find it back. Kobbe now goes in, wants for a little bit more. They do manage to get 1 kill, but Kobbe wants to get Gilius, does use the pillar. Now moving in, takes down Jactroll as well, and that's going to do it. Jiizuké looks for a little bit more of a fight. Kobbe not even worried about the Nexus. The minions take it down, and Splyce bring it back.
That is the best possible answer to getting stumped in the first game of a best of 5. They change a few things in the draft. They don't play aggressive in the bot lane. They camp the mid lane first. And then Nisqy gets fed on Cassiopeia, so fed that the man takes a 1v5 and he wins.
And I was critical of him. I said, you know, I feel like he's not doing a lot with his leads. He shut me up very quick. He had such an amazing performance on the Cassiopeia, getting 2 solo kills onto Jiizuké, the rookie of the split. This man made a statement in game 2.
Nisqy played fantastically for sure, but we also saw more from the other members of the team that needed to step up. Xerxe going mid. Yes, it was telegraphed. Yes, we knew he was going to be there, but it didn't matter. He made it work anyway, and it was the start that Nisqy needed to carry the game.
And now we have to see already for the next game, because Vitality, they picked the blue side. Then the Caitlyn ban happened. The first pick AD carry wasn't there, and suddenly they didn't have multiple lanes they could actually use early on. It was just mid lane only, which Splyce managed to counter. Splyce gets to pick the side here. They can go red side again, exactly the same bans as we saw in the last game, and try and get this kind of draft again where they can punish Jiizuké mid.
You know, and it's fascinating, Fisher, because we talked about, like, we weren't sure what we were going to get from both these teams. And it feels like that in game 1, we saw a lot of fighting. We saw a lot of Vitality style, the early skirmishes, the kind of chaoticness that was everything happening all over the map. And then in game 2, Splyce, they just found one opportunity. They made one play in mid. Xerxe mitigated the early game plays from Vitality, and then they just snowballed from there. And it feels like that just these early, single, crucial decisions is getting one team ahead, and then they just do not let go of the lead.
and a little bit of respect to Vitality that they kept trying to come back, that they kept trying to force fights, but it just did not work. Splyce were ready for it. Splyce said, hey, you want to commit to a 3v3? We'll take our Fed members and we'll punish you every single time. It was absolutely immaculate in completely different shades, and now we've seen one dominating win from each team. How do these guys feel coming into game 3?
It's just impossible to predict the next game.
Yep.
Which team will then succeed with the first few ganks and get far ahead and snowball, or will we get a late game? Who knows?
I think it's important to remember, with a 1v5 that nice, we got to watch it twice. This replay brought to you by Acer Predator. Let's look at it again.
So, Nisqy, he gets collapsed upon. His ulti goes onto the 2 main carries. And even though Jiizuké gets eaten up, it's just not enough. It was just Nisqy utilizing the movement speed, positioning so well. Everything was perfect for the mid.
I think a lot of players would have just saved the flash and just gone down in that situation. But he actually flashed over the pillar, which meant that 2 or 3 members from Vitality could not hit him for a moment. So he got to stay alive for a lot longer, and then he landed all the damage.
This is the dream play, because not only do you get the flashy play where you literally flash over and kill 2 people, you're actually buying time for your team to take an objective in the meantime.
The Nexus.
So you're thinking about macro play. It's both micro, I'm going to outplay you, and the rest of the team are actually getting something super worthwhile. So it's just all around good for Nisqy.
A perfect play, and I think Splyce sends a message to Vitality for the next game. You might want to get rid of that Cassiopeia, because it was pretty damn good.
You have to leave that Kha'Zix open. Second guess that third ban, because they banned it in game 1, Deficio. They weren't going to let it through. And feeling it a little bit too much.
I'm really excited to see how the draft evolves following this game, because I feel like Vitality should now feel a little bit more pressure. You're not saving your secrets for anything else. This is it. This is the end of the split. If you have a strat, if you have something prepared, yes, I can understand coming into game 2, you may as well just stick to what has been working.
Yeah,
it's
it made
no
sense.
longer working.
It
so
made
let's
sense.
see what else you can do.
I actually like that for a team who
sure.
normally always picks red side, saying, no, let's change it. The other team, we don't think they can do anything in that draft. Now, of course, they have to respect it, but once, as we said before here, Splyce will have side selection for this next game, can pick red again. And they've kept the last pick for Nisqy twice to make sure he can counter pick mid.
All right, well, after losing game 1, Splyce bounced back to tie the series. When we come back, we'll also hear from Fnatic's Broxa, so be sure to stick around. Getting into game, will we see another bloody level 1? It's time to find out.
At 7 minutes, we had 5-6 kills on both sides. He's all in!
That thought, the flash over immediately. The ultimate no cleanse wouldn't have helped him anyway. The stun follow-up, beautiful coordination by the team to chain the CC for first blood. Those stats stolen away. Now they're looking for the kill.
Doing a turret.
Backing off, trying to get a little bit more. They're going to be able to get one. That's Odoamne firing back, turning it around onto Vitality. Kobbe has to flash out to safety.
So that's backfired for the second time. Very true. That backfired all
Back
in.
forward, Nisqy looking for the all-in. Does manage to
got
pull
it.
out one more. Twin Fang biting home. Takes down Jactroll as well, and that's going to do it. Jiizuké looks for a little bit more of a fight. Kobbe not even worried about the Nexus. The minions take it down, and Splyce bring it back.